What's up, YouTube? I wanted to have a discussion about the price predictions of collector boxes, and I don't want this to be specific to Final Fantasy. Although Final Fantasy is very relevant, I think we can reference a lot of different boxes to try to get to the conclusion and try to build a conversation, not just about the near-term future, which is what everyone usually obsesses about is, near-term changes in the price swings and near-term issues. I'm more thinking about the long-term direction of something like a collector box. So first, I kind of want to reference stuff that's a little bit older. So let's say something like Rise of the Eldrazi. So I believe Rise of the Eldrazi, last time I checked, they should be about $1,000 a box. I remember stuff that's a little older than that could even be more. And some people have mentioned the fact that what the rip and ship type of communities are causing, not even just rip and ship, but what collector products have caused for Magic the Gathering is almost like an obsession of almost gambling on these, where I believe older booster box didn't give you as good of a feeling when you're buying it. You didn't get as much of a rush, but these boxes, it's like it's almost like crack. You get little tastes and little hits, and you're obviously chasing for something that could be, some of them could be life-changing, which is the problem with these boxes, where you do have several $1,000 chase cards that you can get a barrier of entry of a couple $100s. So the thing I really want to talk about with the price prediction is the fact that we haven't had collector boxes for that long, and we haven't had this successful type of collector box for that long, which is the serialized variant of collector boxes. So the reason why the serialized collector variant is so impactful is because before this, Wizards could reprint collector boxes. Wizards would secretly reprint collector boxes, or at least it was theorized that they were. And before this, they could legally do it. But when you have serial items, legally they can't change the percentage chance you have to pull some of these items. And you also can't add more than, let's say, out of 500. So let's say they have one serialized Edgar Markov. Let's say it was, I don't remember if it was out of 500 or not, but let's say it's out of 500. They can't have a 501. They can't reprint another cycle because they can never put in another one. So I would believe that maybe legally they can add a couple more boxes. The only problem is there's no serialization in there, so I don't know how that works. Where like maybe there's a threshold if they can reprint maybe like 5 or something % of the supply, or not even 5, maybe like a couple $100 boxes, to be honest. It's not enough for them to want to reprint something serialized, especially because there could be some legal implications. So you got to think, these are one and done products. And when it comes to Magic the Gathering, a lot of these products that were built to several $1,000 valuations, they were not one and done. There were so many opportunities to get more and more of these for years, where collector boxes, it feels like the only opportunity you have is either right when it opens up or right when it crashes. If it crashes. And then after that, it just rebounds off some invisible wall. Recently, that invisible wall has been the 10% off sales that TCG Player runs, where you just see this massive like dildo, this massive green candle. It would be a green candle in stocks, where just everyone just goes buy, and a lot of those people are definitely opening them. Some of them could be holding it for the future, but the thing is, once they're gone from the market, they need to be re-added back. And a lot of people are not going to want to take a loss on something. So let's say they bought something for $500. They're not going to want to sell it for $400 or $450, even if the price goes down. They're going to have a little stronger hand than that. So no one's going to resell it for $500 unless they really needed, eat the loss. So these are probably going to be, they won't be added back to the market for quite a bit of time. So I guess back to get to my main point, I don't think people are bullish enough on collector boxes. So let me tell you something about what I see happening. I feel like maybe in a year, maybe 2, or maybe 3, we could easily get a building Pokemon effect where now everyone knows Pokemon boxes go up infinitely. But collector boxes, most people are still unsure on. Just ask, go to a local card shop and just ask random people. They might have the idea that, like, yeah, sure, collector boxes are going to go up, but I would never buy one. I would never sit on one. I won't hold one because I'm going to open it up. That's what a lot of people will say in Magic the Gathering and the trading card communities. So that means even they don't fully get it. They don't fully understand how free the money is and has been with collector boxes. I think anyone who is holding on to collector boxes for more than a couple months or even a couple years can kind of start realizing how free it is to buy the collector box. The market dries up and then it shoots to the moon. And the thing is, the market for these are drying up incredibly fast. Look at something like Phyrexia, which hasn't been out for more than 2 years. And the market is already completely nuked. You're never going to see some massive spike of Phyrexia collector boxes. And to this day, people still like the Phyrexia chase cards. People are still buying these out. A lot of these cards are relevant. A lot of these cards are strong. And everyone knows when a card is strong or relevant, that it's going to go up in price. It doesn't matter if it's from Odyssey or the new Phyrexia, the new Foundations. So, and another thing is, with Commander, everyone wants the best treatment. So you take a card that already has, the boxes are low supply. You take a card that the card itself is low supply because everyone's been buying up the variant. And then now you have anything happen where the card is actually giga playable in some niche or popular deck. Like you have a Final Fantasy situation, and you have some of those Final Fantasy commanders needing something like, there's that Proliferate blue card. That one, I'm calling it, watch it spike. It's going to be another situation where it just instantly goes to the moon. And so you have enough of those happen, and the price is never going to retrace for those. So the EV on a lot of these boxes, mainly because of these variants, is just going to continue to rise. Mainly because there's nothing out there. Mainly because none of these products is coming back to market yet. So, I guess to conclude it, I feel like people need to be freakishly bullish to actually get a proper price target for some of this stuff in the near term, even the long term. I think everyone's always scared to make a crazy prediction because, for one, people are very pessimistic. You know, you say something like the new box of Lord of the Rings is going to go to $2,000 in 2 years, and everyone's going to be like, "You're crazy, dude. That'll never happen." You say something like most collector boxes are going to either hold or gain more than 10 or 20% in value in a year, and they're going to say like, "No, how could you predict that? How could you know?" And the thing is, you might not know for sure, but you have a pretty good idea that will happen. And even if you didn't, let's say it's just a blind faith. Maybe you just like the product. Anyone who has picked one of these products that they like, or they pick a product that they think sucks, it's all gone to the moon. You take Karlov, the flavor doesn't even need to be good. And that can go to the moon from any of those cards or cycles being maximum playable. And then now you have a situation where the cards just like go crazy. And that's not to mention, I think one thing that people haven't noticed yet with collector boxes. So here's something I've been bringing. Maybe I should make a separate video for this. So you take the phenomenon where, you know, nothing is special because when you open up a collector boxes, there's millions and millions of foils of every single type, millions and millions of variants. You know, nothing can be special if there's millions of variants and millions of foils. But then you take the box, the quantity of boxes on the market drying up, and now you have no new supply coming to market for a lot of the foils and a lot of variants. So then let's say you have all that out there on the market, and slowly people buy up the cards. They buy up the foils. Some cards spike, some people buy specs, whatever it is. And then those products, it was almost like all the foils were on clearance. The foils were out there, and it was cheap when there was a lot of product. It was worthless when there was a lot of product out there. But once the collector boxes dry up, that's it. That was your foil tap. that was the moment to buy any of these foils, any of these special treatments. It's not they're going to stay repressed forever and all Modern is trash. It's when Modern comes out, there's a lot out there. The market glut is there. You just don't know what effects it's going to take. I feel like it has an effect on the EV of boxes, of these singles. And people always say the reprint thing. Wizards can't reprint all of these cards. They can't do it. They can reprint a lot of them. They can reprint them over time. But how quick is these reprints going to come to market? And when they do come out, is it going to be a special guest insert? Is it going to be some secret layer, which is also priced up? What is it going to be? So, in conclusion, I don't think people are bullish enough. Not even just on Final Fantasy, which hasn't come out, is almost hitting $800 a box. It's getting close. I think people aren't bullish enough on Modern, on collector boxes, on any of the foils, on any of the singles. I would argue the game has changed for Magic the Gathering premium variants. The game has changed sometime after they started making collector boxes. Sometime after they started with making all of these cool variants, these unique loved variants, these unique loved sets. And sometime after the Pokemon boom, and sometime after this spike of Commander players, this spike of Magic the Gathering purchasing interest, something has changed. And you know what they say, blue ocean. If you had the moment to go in when no one is buying, then why wouldn't you have just gone in and taken a gamble, taken a spec? And that, I think, is now. I think you look at some of these sets where everything is just going up. You look for a card that maybe has gone up 10, 20%, 30%. And just try your hand buying up 100 copies, $100 or something like that. You know, put in a small amount of money. And, you know, you can take what I like doing is I like picking product where there's no collector boxes. You get the most premium variant of that card. And the moment the moment interest starts popping up several times over, something like inventory management from Fallout, and suddenly you have a situation where people will continuously go back for this hyper playable card, and there's just nothing. You're going to have the market. There's going to be nothing left. So obviously you need to do some of your own work, your own research, and have your own opinions. You can't, some people are going to refute what I say, but that's just, we're guessing on the future. No one knows if I'm right or you're right in the long term. You just have to kind of like open pray, and we'll see what happens. So that's pretty much it. Let me know in the comments what you think. Maybe if you agree, you have some very interesting take. And yeah, let's see what goes on. Let's see how well we do. See you guys later.